This is a Ben Frank Connection presentation.
What is going on, everybody? We are live for ABJ Presents Not Cool in High School, episode 117, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem review. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me on this Tuesday. If you're live watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, or X, if you're listening to this in your car on whatever podcast platform it may be, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, the list goes on and on and on. Find me on your favorite podcast platforms. Make sure if you're here, hit that thumbs up, hit that share, subscribe, like, whatever it may be. Spotify, Apple, leave a 5-star review. It goes a long way, helps this podcast grow, and word of mouth is always the best way to help me grow. YouTube, some recent announcements. YouTube has just been a monetized partner channel. So I want to say a huge thank you to everyone who has been hanging out, who has been joining, who has been supporting the channel. It is unbelievable. We have two new members as of active as this stream right now. So huge thanks to James. He's also a podcast creator as well. So make sure you go check him out on his channel, as well as A is our brand new member. So we want to thank our tag team champions, James, and also Lily. I'm not seeing everybody here. Let me. Why am I not seeing? There they are. Tag team champions are Lily and James. Mid-card championships, Freak, James, CJ, DM, Andrea, Adam, Inspector Todd, and BR, all of our mid-card champions, as well as Steven and A on that side as well. So thank you all so much for those new memberships. Last stream too, we got a lot of cool super chats. That's super dope. Can't believe that's still a thing. So we have a lot of really neat stuff going forward with the channel. We're growing. It's getting there. Housekeeping stuff aside, make sure you go check out the Ben Frank Connection as well. Links below for exclusive ABJ podcast merch. We have some Bullet Club. We have a whole bunch of stuff. So if you want to support ABJ and the Ben Frank Connection, which is essentially paying for StreamYard and a lot of different services that keeps this podcast alive, make sure you head over to Ben Frank Connection on the links below for the Opinion City podcast and grab some of that exclusive ABJ merch. Speaking of some ABJ merch, if you're a Ninja Turtles fan, we got an ABJ podcast merch out right now that you can go grab. We did the New Japan spoof a couple days ago where it says the voice of the Indies, got that bear on it instead of the lion. Well, I just came out with, it's not out yet, but it will be out very soon. I did a black and gold version because I am home of the Golden Bears. Dynamite has a new logo, so we got you covered there. We're on the road to WrestleMania, so we have those 2 WrestleMania logos, and 316 is just a couple days away, so we have the ABJ 570 and the ABJ 666 all out there as well. We have a podcast on live Thursday at I believe 8 p.m. I'm not mistaken. I had to double check the time, but episode 118 will be with the Brothers Gray. We'll be live again this Thursday, and then we'll be live this Sunday for the history of Ole Anderson on Tornado Tag. Last Tornado Tag is still available right now. The history of Bruiser and Crusher, available on YouTube and all major podcast platforms. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. But let's get right into this here. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. I'm a huge Turtles fan. That's not a secret. So this movie is directed by Jeff Rowe, screenplayed by Seth Rogen, Evan Goldberg, Jeff Rowe, Dan Hernandez, and Benji Samit. I hope I said that correct. Story by Brendan O'Brien, Seth Rogen, Evan Goldberg, and Jeff Rowe. Based on the characters of Peter Laird and Kevin Eastman. Produced by Seth Green, Evan Goldberg, and James Weaver. And starring an entire cast of people, which we will get to here in a little bit. Produced by Nickelodeon Movies and Gray Point Gray Pictures, and distributed by Paramount Pictures. It released June 12th, 2023 in NC. I guess that was like a film festival. It went there first, and then August 12th, 2023 for the United States. It runs 99 minutes on the dot. It's a United States film, predominantly in English. Budget was $70 million, and it made 180.5. So that's essentially the initial thing. But this was a 2023 American superhero movie based on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It was a reboot of the Turtles film series and directed by Jeff Rowe and co-directed by Kyler Spears, from a screenplay of all the people we just talked about. And we have all the voice actors that we'll talk about here in a minute. But it follows the group as they go on a hunt for a mysterious crime syndicate and faces army of mutants. The story explodes themes of family acceptance and conformity. So it was a really, really fun movie. I'm gonna say right off the bat, I really enjoyed it. There is a lot of spoilers, so if you have not seen Ninja Turtles yet, I am going to be spoiling a lot when it comes to this movie. So right off the jump, man, I really love the art style of this movie. The art style and the Turtles are very new. They're different, very different, and they're not really amazing fighters yet at this early stages of the movie, and they're still very early teens. So it's kind of exciting to see how the Turtles are going to grow with a new generation. But I still think there's enough adult theme in this movie that if you're an old school fan, it doesn't feel like it's being super kiddie for you. Like, I don't think they're really holding your hand and make it insanely only for a younger demographic. I do think they throw some fun stuff in there, like Superfly at one point says Molly Wop, and people are dying, and they're like talking about killing people, and like it's kind of adult themed in what they're doing, but it is still geared towards a younger audience with like slang and terminology and the technology they use. So it really does balance that good balance of a returning Turtles fan who may want to see how they do this for a new generation, and then a new generation of people who can fall in love with the Ninja Turtles once again. This has been tried numerous times since '89. Like, we had our generation, then we had the cinematic generation, then they tried to carry out the cinematic generation and it didn't quite stick. And then you had, I think, 3 or 4 different iterations on Nickelodeon. Then we got another live action version that kind of dropped, but this is the newest version of that in 2023. And I know I'm super behind the ball when it comes to reviewing this movie, but it's something I wanted to do when I started making content again. They did change the backstories up a little bit with characters, and I'm gonna be honest, I'm okay with it. It's a different take, it's a different version, it's a different feel of what they're trying to do with Ninja Turtles. So the entire Turtles backstory is different. The entire Splinter backstory is different. Some of the Turtles, which I'll get into in a little bit, are different. They're not treated the same way as they have been in the past, at least in my opinion. If I'm wrong, please say in the chat. So I will be reading the chat. I'm not reading you guys talking to each other and stuff, but I will be bringing stuff in from the chat. So please keep that chat going and keep that interactive. Yeah. So anyway, the real quick too, with the rules with the tier system, I will be doing that during live streams, and I will prioritize your chats according to as well. But when we're in this podcast platform, I don't rely as heavily on the chat, because I am trying to conduct the podcast side. So I just want to put that out there as well for any new listeners or someone in the chat right now who feels like I'm ignoring you. I'm not. I will get to you, I promise. But yes, so the beginning starts with Dr. Baxton, who is essentially, actually, let's do this real fast. I made the graphics. Let's fucking do this. So let's go through the cast real fast. And I worked really hard on these graphics. So if I would have skipped over it and didn't use them, I'd have been pretty pissed at myself. So let's go through the voice actors of this. If you're listening to this on video or watching this on video, you're going to see some cool graphics that I whipped up. If you're listening on audio, go over and check out YouTube and hit subscribe. We're on the quest of 1K. But Leonardo will be, and I'm going to probably butcher some names because I'm terrible with names, but Nicholas Catu is the voice actor for Leonardo. A lot of low name or newer actors that maybe I'm not familiar with that are playing these young turtles, which I like that they went with a younger generation. We got Brady Noon playing Raphael. I feel like I've seen him in some other stuff, but I'm not 100% sure. Simone Brown Jr. playing Michelangelo. And we have Micah Abbey playing Donatello. We got Jackie Chan voicing Master Splinter. So this is kind of cool, because if you go into this movie and you watch it, you may hear voices and be like, oh, I didn't know it was that person. I got you covered here. April O'Neil is going to be played by Ayo Adibre. Hope I said that right. If I apologize, if I get it wrong, I apologize. We got Espiado, the guy from Breaking Bad. I can never say his first name. He's playing Baxter Stockman, which we'll get into in a moment here. Then we got Superfly by Ice Cube, which is really, really cool. We had Hannibal Buress playing Genghis Frog. We have Seth Rogen playing Bebop. We have John Cena playing Rocksteady. We have Paul Rudd playing Mondo the Gecko. We have Post Malone playing Ray Fillet. We have Rose Byron playing Leatherhead. We have Maya Rudolph playing Cynthia Ultron. And we have Nastasia Dimitru as Wingnut. So there's your voice actors for the movie. I didn't realize that some of the people were in there were playing those voices. Like the first time watch through, I didn't know that was Post Malone. I didn't know that was Paul Rudd. I didn't know that was Hannibal Buress. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. They kind of like slid right in there. But Backstrom is in his lab creating his new mutants and working on his things. He has a fly in his little thing. Now, normally in the comics, correct me if I'm wrong, or old school Turtles lore, Baxter turns himself into a fly. In this one, he creates the fly and creates Superfly. And then he has jars of all of the other mutants that we just talked about that are voiced by those characters. He's creating all of those and he's putting them in the ooze, and then the ooze turns them into these mutants. We really don't know what Baxter's goal was with these mutants, what his plan was. He essentially, they kind of say a little bit like he was lonely and he wanted a family, and the company of TCRI, which is like the bad tech evil guys, wanted to create these mutants to be they want to take the mutants and humanize them, or take humans and mix them with the mutations to make super soldiers and super stuff. So he didn't want that, and he wanted those mutants to kind of be his friends and be his family. So TCRI comes in and they raid his place. They beat him up. Superfly breaks out of his containment, attacks everybody when he's still baby Superfly, steals the rest of the mutants, and bails. As this all happens, Baxter drops the ooze, goes into the drain, down the drain, smashes into the sewer, and that's kind of where we left off. So the turtles are now showing themselves around the city. We're trying to see, we're learning about the turtles, realizing they're very young, and they are very much a part of our world. There's tons of pop culture references here. They reference Batman, they reference Beyonce, they're referencing things in our world. So in this universe, the turtles are very much in 2023, 2024 with the rest of us. They are in current times. This is current day New York City. And yeah, like I said, they're very, but they also want to be a part of our world. They're very eager, and they're watching pop culture. They're sneaking into movies. They're sneaking into shows. They're talking about breaking into concerts and seeing all this stuff. But they've been trained by Splinter to hate humans. We haven't really got too far into that yet, but their whole goal is they just want to be loved. They want to be accepted. They want to be part of our world. They're like turtle Little Mermaids. You know what I mean? Like they're part of their world. Anyway, they go out and they're doing things. They come back super late, and Master Splinter is a different type of Master Splinter. He's not really like the old school Splinter where he's like their sensei and they fear him and they're like, oh my god, Splinter is going to kill us. Like, they're more like he's the cool, crazy, wannabe hip dad in this one, and he's kind of senile, and you kind of don't treat Splinter the same as have you seen Splinter in the past. But Leo is very honorable to his dad, and he can't lie, and he feels really bad because he kind of realizes his dad is kind of a nerd in this movie. And as soon as he comes back, he completely spills the beans. We went out to see a movie, and he's like, how dare you? And he tells the backstory of how he came across the turtles in the ooze. He got hit with the ooze. They both transform. He tried to take them. He realized the turtles were so involved and they want to be part of the human world. He thought, let's give it a shot. So he takes the turtles up to the real world when they're babies, and it goes horrible. Humans are trying to kill them. They're being attacked. They're being stuff thrown at them. They absolutely he hates humans. He's terrified of humans. He runs back to the sewers and tells the boys, you never go up there because you're going to be attacked. You're going to be killed. You're going to be beat up. They're never going to accept you. And worst of all, they will milk you. That's just what they, and you can use milk term as anything as you want there. Yes, Lily in the chat says and milk. But that's what I said. Leo kind of shows that leadership by saying like, "Hey, I went up there," and then Splinter goes on to that entire backstory. They weren't Splinter wasn't in the old schools like he was trained, or he was a pet rat of his master, and his master taught him the art of kung fu. That was not how it went down in this one. He essentially learned kung fu through kung fu movies and workout tapes, and he kind of taught them how to be ninjas in the basement, and it was more or less they were taught how to be ninjas for survivability and to defend themselves. It wasn't done, they weren't taught how to do this with honor. They were never taught how to go up and then protect the humans at one point in time. It was essentially a form of survival and a form of self-defense at this point, and that's why he taught them kung fu and martial arts. But they're different. Like they have they're not, they don't see humans the same way as they've seen them in the past. They're more or less going up there, they're stealing, like for survival. They're going up and taking what they need in the shadows and coming back down and surviving. They're probably stealing. One of the questions Lily asked she's like, why do they have cell phones? So why wouldn't they have cell phones? They want to be humanized so bad. And she's like, well, how are they paying for it? I said, they're probably stealing. They're probably getting prepaid phones and going up and stealing the minutes, and then maybe stealing a credit card. Who knows? Like they don't have morals or ethics when it comes to humans. They're just up there doing what they can to survive. So they try real quick. So in this movie, you're gonna have like 4 forces that are gonna be going throughout this entire movie theme. You have the evil tech company, which is I always try to say it was what the hell was it in the original one? It wasn't TCRI. It was something else. I forget. Maybe it was TCRI, but I could have sworn it was named something else in Secret Ooze. I'm having a brain fart. But you have the TCRI, you have Superfly and his mutants, you have the Turtles, and then you have the human world. And all 4 of these things are going to clash as the movie progresses. And the human world is pretty much by April. April is the face of the human world to the Turtles. So she's going to have the Turtles change their views more on the human world, where we'll get into in a moment. But April is kind of out doing her thing. She wants to be a journalist. She's riding around on her bike. The Turtles go to throw a ninja star at a watermelon that's on Mikey's head. It goes through the watermelon, hits April in her helmet. She doesn't get hit with an actual star, but it hits her in the helmet while she's arguing with the Turtles on a rooftop, which she can't quite see because it's dark and you're letting your imagination take the best of you here. Someone steals her scooter. So immediately Leo, who has a little bit of a crush on her, is like, we kind of let her get her stuff stolen. We should try to go get it back for her. And they're like, okay, let's go do it. Cause they want that action. They want that thrill. They want to be out in the world doing fun things. And Leo's kind of being torn by his heartstrings and his admiration for April. Now, April is a different character choice here in the comics. And I have Kingpin in the chat here. I have Mark in the chat, who is also a huge Turtles fan as well, I believe. If I'm not mistaken, old school April in the comics, the old black and white comics, was a person of color. And then she was turned white when they went to the animated series in '89 and it started getting popular, and has been predominantly a redheaded character most of her run. This movie kind of goes back to making April a person of color. And I remember reading or watching The Toys That Made Us. Kevin Eastman, I believe, created April, and he made April based on a friend of his who was a black woman. So a lot of people are going to probably watch this and be like, they're changing characters. They're not. They're actually going back to the roots of the character. April should have been black the entire time, but she was changed to be a redhead in the cartoon. Yep, he says that is correct. So we're on point with that. So this I'm trying to see my notes here because I was writing this as I was watching. Yeah, so in this first fight scene, they break into this garage and they're all going at it with these bad guys to save April Scooter. She's kind of still running to the scene as they're already there. And this is where we kind of see the early stages of Raph. Raph is not so much trying to fight for leadership of the group yet. He doesn't really care. The Turtles are all kind of on the same page in this entire movie. There's no conflict between Raph and Leo, which we always see in Turtle movies. But Raph does show his eagerness to want to fight and his eagerness to kind of be a hothead. And he just busts in. There's no plan. He busts in the door, fights on, and kind of in this fight they get by with their superpowers. I don't think they really say the turtles have superpowers. They just call them mutants, but they have superpowers. They heal faster, they can take damage, they can fall from farther distance, they do have speed, they do have strength, and they're getting by this fight with the basic limited fighting skills they have, learning how to put them together now, and also their superpowers are getting them by. But Raph is just kind of like a tank in this fight. He's going in there and he's beating the crap out of everybody. There's a lot of humor. They mess up the beginning of the fight when Raph throws his sai and it sticks Donatello in the leg and he screams in pain. And it's just like they are a mess as an early team, which is something we haven't really seen from the Turtles ever. So we're seeing this really young teenagers who are trying to be in their first fight and they get by barely. And this is where April and the turtles finally meet. And there's a cool little Easter egg. I'm sure there's more Easter eggs. If you guys have any more Easter eggs you came across in the movie, please tell me. But in this scene, they get into a car and they're fighting in the car, and the radio turns on, and Ninja Rap is being played by Vanilla Ice, which is an old school callback to old Turtle fans, which is a huge pop. But yeah, so like I said, this is really cool because I really feel like this scene between April and them meeting the turtles and stuff like that really resonates with a young audience. They're saying things like you're being sus, or you're using these younger terminologies. And I feel like with the lingo and the pop culture references and the way the turtles are presented in this movie, if I'm a younger kid in this generation, I'm going to attach myself hard to Ninja Turtles, which is exciting because I always want the turtles to succeed. But they learn that through April, because they had this heart-to-heart moment, like, wait, you liked us because we helped you? And she goes, yeah, like I kind of realized that you're not evil, but if I would have just ran into you on the streets, I would have hated you. I'd have been afraid of you. I would have been maybe a little more hesitant to talk to you, but because you helped me, I was willing to talk to you more. And they have this like, so you're saying if we help humans, they'll like us? She's like, no, not at all. They will definitely try to kill you. But she goes, you never know. So April talks about her backstory, where actually jumping ahead of myself real quick. So one of the things that stands out real quick in this movie for me was Mikey. Mikey has a very mature voice in this movie. And this is where I'm going to lean to the chat. If you've seen the movie, kind of agree or disagree with my take on this. But when I hear Mikey talk in this movie, I don't resonate with Mikey, because Mikey was my favorite turtle growing up. Mikey doesn't stand out as much in this turtle film as he did in the past. I feel like he has a more mature voice. And then you hear Donnie talk, and Donnie has that like bubbly, really higher register voice that Donnie actually steals the show as the comic relief of the turtles. And I really feel that that Mikey and Donnie swap roles in this movie. Mikey's not serious, but he's also kind of the quieter turtle. He kind of sits back in the cut, and he almost plays the role of Donnie, but instead of being the tech guy, he's more the theater kid. He's like the shy theater kid. Like, he wants to do theater. He wants to be out of his comfort zone more. But when he's with the rest of his brothers, he's almost the last to talk, kind of like Donnie was in the past. Donnie's more of your comic relief. Donnie's more of your goofball. If a joke is being cracked in this movie, it's coming from Donnie. And they make Donnie more of a personable character, and Mikey kind of takes that back seat of not really the comic relief that we're used to in these turtle franchise, which I don't hate. I don't hate it at all. But it was just interesting to me to see how I feel like they kind of swapped those two characters, or they gave Mikey a new image that we're going to kind of see as we go forward with with Mikey. And in the chat, Kai does say, fully agree. As a huge Donnie fan, I feel like they didn't do him right, and that really hurt me for this. Really? So you didn't like the way Donnie was portrayed in this? I actually like Donnie a lot more in this. I thought Donnie was a bright spot of the four turtles, if I'm mistaken. And if I'm being honest, in this movie, I felt they gave Donnie more of a personality instead of just a nerd who had no voice in the team. I don't know. I felt Donnie was more of an asset. Mikey kind of took a back seat, but we get April's backstory here, and I think they did a great job sharing, starting a new movie, starting a new franchise, and not and it didn't, this movie at any point didn't feel crammed. Like, they gave us all new stories. They kind of showed us the each lane this movie can go. You have your evil humans, your normal humans, your mutants, your turtles, and they're all kind of coming together, and you're getting all this new information, but it's still flowing within the movie. So we get this whole backstory of April, where she wants to be a journalist, but she's terrified to be on camera because she has horrible stage fright, and she's known as Puke Girl because when she tried to do the morning announcements, she threw up and she can't talk. Like, she has a hard time talking in front of people. That's kind of her bugaboo. And it makes April really relatable because to the turtles, she's the coolest thing, and she's this popular person to them because she's like, she's the holy grail. She's the first human to talk to them. But in her world, she's kind of a nerd, and she's been picked on because her one dream is to be a journalist, but the one thing she can't do as a journalist is talk. So she's like, no, I just write, and I want to pass it off, but I want to be a journalist. And they're like, no, you're very pretty, you have camera looks, you should be on camera. And she's like, no chance. In this movie, April's gonna kind of go through her Charlie day. She has her board at home, and she has her connections of, these are the 4 people that we're trying to get to TCRI, to find out who Superfly is. And well, they don't really know about TCRI, but Superfly is stealing all this technology from TCRI, and he's building something. We don't know what, and no one knows who Superfly is or what Superfly does, but he's trying to build this giant machine for some reason. And she's found all these people who may be connected, and this is where we get a montage. And in the beginning of this montage, it starts with No Diggity, and the soundtrack to this movie, fantastic, great banger songs. Once again, the music of this movie speaks to the older Ninja Turtle fans, to get them like, oh, these are old school songs we're into, to get us fired up for what we're watching, to make you like the Turtles more. So I think, once again, I think they did a good job of blending in older pop culture with newer pop culture and older characters, but making them for a newer audience. And I think the soundtrack was a great way to blend that all together. And the music used in this movie was done very well in that aspect. So No Diggity plays, and we get a montage of the turtles fighting their way through the city, getting better at fighting throughout the city, becoming more of the turtles we now know. But they kind of had a few shots where it was done like a side-scrolling video game. So if you're an old Turtles fan, you loved Turtles in Time and those old school beat 'em ups where the turtles are traveling sideways across the screen, and they had a little bit of reference in there. At least that's what I got out of it. But it's them kind of going through, learning how to fight crime and getting pretty good at it. So they find out where this big meetup's going to happen. This guy has a piece of equipment. He has to deliver it to Superfly in a secret location under a bridge. So the turtles are like, we're just going to take it to Superfly, and we're finally going to find out who Superfly is. We're going to take him down. We're going to save the city, and the humans are going to love us. We're going to be accepted. We're going to be part of their world. We're going to be able to go to school. Is their whole goal, is they want to go to school. All of this is going on, and they come back to this to the layer. And Splinter he's not pissed that they're out. He's not like, you're punished. You're like, I mean, he does punish them, but he's not like old school Splinter where they fear him. They almost like, they feel sorry for him. He's kind of quirky. He's kind of this joke of a dad. And he comes back, but he's very understanding. He's like, listen, I found all of your stuff. I see how you want to be humans. I see that you want to blend in with that world. He goes, I can do that down here. I have cardboard cutouts, and I'll pretend to be a waiter. Like, I will give you as much as I possibly can of that human world, and I will learn about it, so you don't have to leave me. I'm lonely down here. I miss my boys. You guys are growing up without me, and I'm alone, and I have no one here, and there's not a mate for me in the world for me to be involved with, and I miss everybody, and I kind of want to be. I want to have my world down here with you guys, but you guys want to leave me. And he has that moment as like a parent where he feels he's in his nest by himself, and he's bummed. But it was an interesting take for Splinter of building him to that level. Meeting Superfly under a bridge. Now we know it. Okay, that's a wrestling reference. I see what you did there, but that didn't happen under a bridge. It just happened on the side of the road. So the mutants take this thing to the bridge, and they're very excited to finish the story, right? They're gonna finish their story, and they get there, and all these vehicles pull up, and all these people pull up, and they approach them, and they're all mutants. And the turtles are confused now because they're like, wait a second, they're us. We're not alone in the world. There's more people like that, like us out there. And now they kind of have this moment where they're conflicted because now they're accepted by these people and they're cool and they have access to the human world, and they're not really afraid of the humans because they know their kind of mission is we're too strong and too thing. And the turtles are kind of like, this is kind of what we want. And they're having a great time and they're meeting. But the entire time, April's hearing the plan and speaking to them in earpieces. And she's like, yo, this isn't good. This isn't good. Then they started finding out the plan. So Superfly wants world domination. He wants to kill all humans, enslave humans, use humans as fuel or food. And he has a machine that he's going to put his blood into, which is going to create a serum that's going to essentially go into the atmosphere, and every animal is going to be mutated, and those mutated animals will then take over the world, and humans will no longer be needed. And the turtles have a split-second decision of, are you with us or against us? Because once again, they're trying to push a movie. It's only 99 minutes. It feels like it's all crammed, but I promise you it flows very, very nicely. But they have to make a decision right then and there. Are they team human and April? Are they team mutants they will pretty much be, they don't have to worry about acceptance anymore. They will be the world. And they choose right then and there that they are going to go against the mutants, and they fight them. They try to prevent them from doing it. As this is going on, TCRI took this last piece of equipment that Superfly stole, and they have a tracking device on it. So they're kind of watching from the shadows, and now they see there's more things out there. And as in this big struggle, the tracking device falls off. It lands in Leo's hand or Raph's hand or whoever it was, I forget. And they fall to the ground. They're injured because they fell a huge distance off a bridge. TCRI comes in and kidnaps the turtles, takes them back to their laboratory, and they say their plan is to take the blood of the turtles and a mutant and then use that serum to create a serum that will turn humans into mutants and give them animal characteristics so they could be superhumans. But they also have a serum that will reverse the effects of the mutant disease. So if they have them, they can then make these mutants back to what they would have been before that spot. So they get the turtles and they're hooked up to these machines, and Splinter was right. Humans are all about milking. They will suck the milk right out of you, and that's what happens here. They are sucking the blood out of the turtles, and they're terrified because they are being milked. Now it is up to April to either go about her day or be the hero. She goes down to the sewers and meets a brand new Splinter who hates humans. She convinces him that the turtles are in trouble and you need to come with me. So we have this moment now where Splinter breaks into the lab, and he's this goofy dad who now, in adversity, is a gangster fighter. So everything we knew about Splinter in the past, how he's this great sensei, he's awesome at karate, he can fight better than anybody. Splinter's that dude. And he can, and that fight scene happens, and Splinter is tearing everybody up. And it's neat because if you've watched Jackie Chan movies, Jackie Chan was the opposite of Bruce Lee. They were the same in the fact that they will beat you down and they're very good at fighting. But Jackie Chan did it in a form of comedy where almost like he was Mr. Magoo of Kung Fu, where he didn't look like he was going to be good at what he did, but he got the job done. He had facial expressions of fear, where Jackie Chan was more serious and confident. And he would use minor mistakes in the fight to make the fight work for him. So the voice of Jackie Chan embodied in the fighting style of Splinter, it was kind of like watching Jackie Chan as Master Splinter fighting this fight. And it was really cool how it was done, of giving that homage to Jackie and his style of martial arts and what made Jackie popular. And he wasn't just the voice of Splinter. He essentially embodied Splinter and the way the fighting stuff was done. And I thought that was really, really cool. So now they go on and the turtles are free. They're going back after Superfly. They corner Superfly. They're all in this thing. Superfly has the last piece of the machine. It's all built and put together. And the turtles confront them. And they're just like, yo, man, like, you don't want to do this. You don't want to run the world. Like, we can find a different way of going about this. And Superfly's dead set on his plan. And the rest of his team, the mutant team, is not on board. They kind of have a change of heart, and they tell Superfly, like, we don't really want to hurt humans. We kind of would like to find a way to make it work. and I don't think we should do this. And Superfly gets mad and he says, it's happening. So now these new mutants are going against Superfly, teaming with the Turtles and Splinter to take down Superfly. And Superfly is booked like a monster. He is beating up these 5 mutants, 4 turtles, and a rat, single-handedly bodying these guys. And he gets the better of them. But for a while, this fight happens. They end up destroying the platform the machine's on. The machine falls into the water with Superfly, and it activates. Superfly then comes out of the water as even larger Superfly on a whale's body, and he has all these different marine life that now like attached to him, and he's now this this giant form of different animals that is into him. He takes his whale body into a zoo, which he attaches himself to more animals. Now he has different limbs, and anything essentially he's grabbing at this point is forming into him. And he's on his way to New York City to destroy and kill all humans. And at this point, the Turtles are like, maybe the Army will take care of this. This is somebody else's job. We all couldn't beat him. They have that doubt. They have that struggle. And Splinter turns around and goes, no, you have to go into the town. You have to save New York City. You have to fight. And these humans, they're going to love you for it. And everything that you want in your life and all your dreams and all your acceptedness and being a part of human civilization will all come to you if you go do this job. And they all get fired up, and Leo rallies the troops and essentially says, like, let's go do this. So he runs, they all go into the city, and they're there to fight Superfly. And this big fight's happening, and Superfly's, he's kicking their ass. But Raphael finds a gun with the serum and shoots him, and it just knocks one horse off his leg. And they're like, okay, so we need to get it into his bloodstream so it will dissipate all of the animals off of him and revert him back. And they realize to do that, his body is now a whale. They're going to drop it into the blowhole of the whale, and it's going to be like almost that Star Wars Death Star moment where it hits him and it's going to put him back to normal. But he's strong. He's stronger than he was before. And they don't have the resources, but they just have the willpower to get it done. So they go in there, they're fighting, everything's going. It's the mutants, it's the turtles, and all hope is gone. They're getting bodied, they're getting beat up. They're trying to showcase, everything that would make the turtles special, and it's failing. And at this time, all of the humans are on the news, and the news is covering it, and they're trying their best to fight it. But now the news is saying the turtles are here with this giant monster, and they're terrorizing the city, and the news is portraying it as they're all working together, and they're not saying that the turtles and the other are there to save them. And this is where there's no answers. They're struggling. Everything is terrible. And they're starting to backtrack on their mission, and they don't know what to do. And they're injured. They're hurt. Superfly has them in his claw. He's about to destroy them. And April faces her fears. She goes on the news and says, I have the real story. She breaks it to the rest of the people saying, the turtles are here to help. They need our help. If we want to defeat the mutant, you got to help the turtles. So as this is all going down, Superfly has him in his claws. He's about to break their shells. He's slowly crushing the death. Splinter's leg is broke. He's trapped. And all these humans surround Splinter. And he's terrified. He's like, these humans are going to kill me. And they're like, are you here to help us? And he's like, yes. And the humans now come to the aid of the turtles to get the serum that they need to the turtles themselves. So they start driving their cars into the legs of Superfly. The other mutants are back up in the fight. So now it's the humans, the mutants trying to free the turtles, which they do. The turtles get the ooze. This ending fight animation of how they did it was done so well. Like Superfly's claw going through the building as they're all running, and he's trying to swipe at everybody. And they really encapsulated how big he was compared to everybody else, and just they encapsulated the importance of the fight. And I thought the animation and the fight and the music was all so good. They end up getting the antidote into the hole. Superfly dissipates, but we don't know where he goes. They've helped to humans. The humans accept the turtles, and now that everything is all well, the turtles then go to their first day of school. They're living in the sewer, but now the rest of the mutants are living in the sewers with them. So it's weird in this aspect because you're used to seeing all of these popular villains are now friends of the turtles. Like Rocksteady and Bebop are living in the sewers with the turtles, and they're not evil. They're just guys that are with them, and they're all accepted, and they can go back and forth between the turtles and the regular world. And it was really, really cool how like the civilization now has accepted the mutant world and the Ninja Turtles, and the Ninja Turtles go to school, and all is right in the world. And that's the end of the movie. And that's the turtles have essentially saved New York City and now are a part of our world, and everybody is aware of the Ninja Turtles. And that's just movie one, right? So you're thinking to yourself, where do you go from this? Like, it's a happy ending, everything is great, credits are going, but you always stick around for the credits because something can happen after. And the end credits show the turtles living life. Mikey's enrolled in drama classes, and Donnie's being Donnie, and Raphael is joining the wrestling team, and Leonardo is doing stuff with April. And it's really, really cool to be like, this is kind of neat. Like the turtles are living their dream, everything is fine. And then they kind of zoom out, and TCRI and the evil bad girl is looking at them and saying, like, there they are. But as they're doing this, Leo and April are planning a way to take down TCR. So now they know TCR exists, and they're planning their attack to go after TCR to take them down, because they know that their plan is to take that ooze and use it for no good. But now TCR is aware of the turtles because they're living in regular society. They're not hiding anymore, so they're easier to find. And they have baby Superfly in a jar, and they're talking about their plans, and they're all talking about their next step. And then she says, it's time to bring in the Shredder. And they show, I'm getting goosebumps because I love Shredder, but they back out of the city and they show the New York City skyline, and they just show like a side profile of Shredder's helmet and his thing, and he's staring at New York City. So the next movie is the introduction of Shredder. So this movie, we don't even get Shredder in action. They set up this huge backstory, and Shredder's the next big deal. And I don't know, man. I really like the movie. I normally don't like when they take characters and they reinterpretate them into their own thing, but I feel like they don't diminish of who the turtles are. So I don't like if you take a character, and if this character embodies something, and now they no longer embody that, and you took your artistic creativity to change the overall arc of what makes that character. I don't think at any point they do that. I think Rocksteady and Bebop are still Rocksteady and Bebop, but right now they're good guys, and maybe they'll change. Maybe there's a reason when Shredder comes that these guys turn their back. Who knows? We don't know how it's going to play out, but I think overall every turtle still feels like the turtles. You're into them. Yes, they made Mikey not as goofy, but I think they lended a little bit of what made Mikey popular and put it into Donnie. And I think Donnie's going to get more love in this next generation of the Ninja Turtles, because Donnie kind of laid in the shadows. He was always the fourth one. And if you're a Donnie fan, I'm sorry for saying that, but it was always, I'm a Raph guy, I'm a Leo guy, I'm a Mikey guy. And then the pie chart was really thin if you were a Donnie guy. But I think this new generation looks at Donnie, and I think they attach themselves more to that Donnie voice and that Donnie character. Lily in the chat says, I think a huge takeaway for me was Splinter originally pushing his views of the world and causing a rift between him and his sons. And after the boys go out into the world, he was able to take a step back and say, okay, the world is a scary place, but the things are dangerous, but trust that his boys can still have a great life, and so can he. And it's not all darkness and turmoil. Yeah. Or milking. Yes, absolutely. And that was kind of the big point, is when Splinter kind of turned away and said, like, no, go out and save the humans. Like, you will get the world you want if you show the world that you're here for a good reason. And it's almost like, be real and be yourselves. And that's kind of what the turtles embodied. And it kind of had a really cool, positive message. It still showed the turtles are cool as hell. Like, I'm excited for this new era of Ninja Turtles. I'm excited to see the Ninja Turtles grow with a new audience, because they tried a few times, and there's a few people that I was like, oh man, I'm a Turtles guy, right? But I really think this new version of the Turtles has a really good, strong base to start from. And I'm excited for the next one. I want to see the next one. I want to see how they include Shredder. I want to see how they include the rest of the Turtle family going forward. I want Casey Jones. I want to see the Turtles age with their audience, because I think that's important. We never really seen a Turtles generation. Like, we seen the Turtles when they were like late teens, almost adults. We haven't seen the Turtles when they're like 13, like early teenagers trying to figure out life. So I think it's kind of cool to see how these Turtles are going to age with their audience, but still be able to take their older audience of us, our generation, and grow up with the younger generation, all for the love to say we love the Ninja Turtles. And that's pretty much all I got when it comes to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem. I give this movie, I don't want to like rank or rate stuff, but maybe I'll start here on the last one. The Blink album, I didn't do it on, but I'm giving the Blink album a 9 out of 10. It's so good. I want to give it a 10 out of 10, but it was really good. The Ninja Turtle movie, an 8, and I'm tough with an 8 too. It takes a lot to give me. 7 is like good, 7.5. I don't want to give out 8, 9s, and 10s very frequently. But this is getting an 8, an 8.5. I really liked it. I liked the way the Turtles were done. I would love to see how this Turtles carry on to a newer generation and see how they respond to them. I don't want the Turtles to ever go away. I don't care how many times you reboot it or how many times people do their own thing with it. I'm a Turtles guy through and through, and I'm very, really excited to see the new Turtles. Let me know in the chat before we close out. I'm going to do some closing out bits here, but let me know who your favorites are. Devin says, what's good, ABJ? Congratulations on the Watts hours. Hell yeah, man. We are now a channel. You can hit that join button for as little as $1 and support ABJ. We have a whole bunch of cool tiers. If you're a new member, the new emojis are in the chat. So we do have the new emojis that you can test out right now. So I have custom ABJ emojis. I only have 4, but the more members we get, we can unlock more emojis. And trust me, I made a bunch. So there we go. There's some ice. There's some ABJ, some iced tea, some chocolate milk. They're all there. And huge thank you to Devin, who is the newest member of the ABJ YouTube channel. We are growing. This is super exciting. Thank you guys so much. So we did figure out the gifting. So I just want to say this real quick for going forward, the gifting system. And huge thanks for Devin for being a brand new mid-card champion right now. Part of the universe. He's getting that mid-card title championship right there. Huge thank you, Devin. I appreciate you so much. Make sure you go check out Devin, the Tribal Chief, on his YouTube channel. So it's super cool being a sponsor. Their Stream Elements even saying Devin, the Tribal Chief, just became a sponsor. Welcome to the cult of, well, he's always been a cult of ABJ member, but now he's supporting the channel, and I appreciate that. Where was my train of thought going? I was going to say something. I lost what I was going to say because everyone started donating. But yeah, we have these donations. We have a whole bunch of tiers. In closing, if you join the tier program, I'm still going to have Patreon for people who want to do Patreon. There's people over there still doing that. We'll have this version as well. I might even start one on the audio only side of things, who are people who aren't YouTube members or maybe aren't Patreon members, that you can still support via Spotify. There's a way you can still do that and subscribe and do the Patreon, support the podcast that way. I will say this now, because we are monetized, I am not going to paywall your experience of this content. I know who got me here. I know how I got here, and I want to make it a point to really get into like not paywall things now that I've hit this platform and I have an opportunity to make money. I will not make exclusive content that you will have to pay to see. I am not going to make it that you have to pay to chat, type in chat. I am not going to make it so like that I'm going to pull myself away from my audience and not be there for you to speak to or reach out to or talk to. But I also still want to make tiers and make it cool that you guys can still be a part of this community. And if you do pay your hard-earned money to support me, that you will have something that is, I hope, is enough to justify the cost of what you want to do to support. I really want to treat that if you hit the $5 tier or the $100 tier or a $50 tier, I want you to think of more of it as you're doing it to support me, and you're not really doing it to get anything exclusive over anyone else in my chats or in my universe, because not everyone can really pay for that, and I don't want people to feel like they're left out if they're not a paying member. Everyone here is part of this. Everyone here I want to thank, I want to welcome and thank. So if you're a tag team member, you get special to loyalty badges, emojis, as well as member shout outs. So at the beginning of every stream, I will go through and shout out everyone who is a member of the stream. The $5 are going to get you everything you heard before, as well as priority reply to comments. Now, for podcast stuff, I may not reply right away because I am still doing the audio podcast side of things. So I'm not going to make it a point to keep going into that because I do have an agenda as a podcast to make a podcast good. But we do live streams and everything like that and video game streams. Yeah, I'm reading them. You're part of me. I got you. But I will make it a point to still read them at some point, like I am turning the end. World Champ, you're going to get connected on social media. Now, what that means is if you pay that $25 tier and up, I will make new intro outro videos highlighting those 3 tiers saying thank you. So you will get an intro outro thank you for being a member there. So that's kind of what that tier will get you. The Triple Crown will get you photos and status updates. So on YouTube, there is a community tab. So say if I do an interview with Devin the Tribal Chief and it's scheduled for next April at the 30th, the day that we schedule the date and time and we agree to do it and I make the canvas, the thumbnail, I'm posting it on YouTube exclusively to that tier. So if you really like ABJ content and you really want to pay that high price, you are going to find out content before anyone else of what's coming up to the channel. Now, if you pay the $100 tier, all content will eventually go to the public, but I like to edit. I like to get it done. I like to post it all on YouTube, and I like to schedule that post. So I'm done, and it airs, and it's good to go when it's ready to go. That being said, it's already on YouTube. All that new content is coming at a future date and it's ready to go. But with this tier program, YouTube allows me to set those to be public for that tier. So if you pay the $100 membership right now, there are 22 episodes of 5 Questions with ABJ that no one has seen yet. But if you are a member of that tier, you are seeing them right away. And I am going to start making posts of all of those 5 questions and who they are to that other exclusive tier starting tonight. So if you're part of those higher tiers, that's how we're going to do the tiers memberships. I hope everyone's cool with that. It was a personal internal struggle of how I'm going to go about doing it and making it fair, but not making all of my content be behind paywall so people feel like they have to pay to be a part of this. I don't want that. If you can't pay, I understand. Times are tough. I'm broke as well. I have zero money. I wish I can support more, but I can't. But being here and subscribing and sharing the channel and talking about the channel is just as important to me than a super chat or a membership. They're all on the same level. I appreciate the people who have the funds to be able to support. You mean a lot to me as well, but I also want to keep everybody on the same page. Also, if you gift a membership, so how that works is you gift a membership and then it goes into a pot. And then YouTube randomly picks someone for a free membership based on their if they were in that stream at that point in time, if they participated by chatting, or if they are newer, like it's like a randomized thing. So I cannot choose who gets a gifted membership. It's all random. So we Freak paid for 2 gifted memberships and I gave away 5 because I'm allowed to give 10 away every month. So those 7 members were chosen, and they were some of the 7 members I read in the beginning. So we do have 7 gifted memberships out there for 1 month. So huge thank you for anyone who does that as well, because some people would like membership gifts, but they can always go ahead and afford that. Anastasia with the thumbs up 199 super sticker as we're closing out the stream. Thank you so much. $1.99 for Anastasia. Thank you. I appreciate you guys so much. Raz says congratulations to everyone who got a gifted membership. I do have 5 more gifted memberships to give away. I think the way we're going to do it is maybe I have a couple streams coming up, but before the end of this month I will do another giveaway for 5 more subscriptions for people. We'll space them out, one at the beginning, one at the end. I'm thinking next month's giveaway we're going to do one night 1 of Mania and night 2 of Mania, and we'll just give away the memberships that way. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate you all so much. This is my second piece of content solo I've ever done, and I'm pretty pumped about it. So let's kind of recap real quick. Tomorrow we'll be dropping 5 questions with ABJ. It will be Billy Avery from Labor of Love drops tonight at midnight, so that'll be there, and then we'll be back later on that night around 7 o'clock for AEW Dynamite. Tonight's that's a big one. Big business, a lot of surprises, a lot of big things. It's being labeled as a really big show. So make sure you jump in the chat and come hang out with us. Hang out with ABJ during ABJ for AEW Dynamite. Then on Thursday, we'll be doing a live podcast with the Brothers Gray, tag team out of the Northeast, who are absolutely tearing it up. And then on Sunday, we'll be back for Tornado Tag with the history of Ole Anderson. Merch is available on the BFC side of things, so head over to the Opinion City Podcast BFC store, grab some merchandise to help keep the StreamYard alive and all the cool things. If you like Ninja Turtles and you want to support ABJ, we got that Ninja Turtle artwork that's exclusive to this episode, and you can go grab that right now. We did our New Japan, but we did a little black and gold spoof for the Bears. Right now, the local high school that I went to is their boys basketball team of a graduating class of about 50 boys is going for possibly state championships in Pennsylvania for basketball. The kid who's dominating that team right now, Jace Yatsena, is a really good friend of the family. The kid is absolutely killing it. He's a junior in high school, and he's like a huge talked about star in the area. So go Bears, go get that state championship. We got the new Dynamite logo. We got the Mania logos, and 316's a couple days away. So we got the ABJ 570 and 666. Maybe we got a new one coming out in a couple months, or next month or on the 20th. So be on the lookout for that. We've been doing video game streams for 2K24, as well as Pokemon and Assassin's Creed Mirage. And a little bit of a teaser. We recorded enough 5 questions with ABJ that we hit 51 episodes. And episode 50 is going to be a special one because Mantequilla from House of Glory will be joining us. And if you look at that thumbnail, he might be showing a little something off there. Normally a masked wrestler. I don't know what's going on there. The only way to find out is check out that 5 questions with ABJ Mantequilla right now, when it drops in a couple of weeks here. But thank you guys so much. We're out of here. 5 questions with ABJ. Not Cool in High School on the part of the ABJ podcast presents. We'll see you next time. We're out of here. You take care, and thank you so much for everyone who's been supporting, watching, liking, subscribing. It's unbelievable to me. 6 years I've been working at this, and now we're a monetized channel. Let's hit 1K. Share the channel out. Let's hit 1K. Let's get it done. See you guys soon. Bye.
Thanks for watching this presentation. Like, share, and subscribe for more.